Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Laura. Today we're doing another fun Halloween themed DIY project. We're going to be heading outside for this one. We're doing 2 DIYs this time. Are you fans of the show Over the Garden Wall? Are you familiar? These are going to be over the garden wall themed DIY projects. So I'm super excited. If you're not familiar with the show, it's a great show. And if you want to get in like the fall spirit, the Halloween spirit, it's the perfect show. And it stars Elijah Wood and Melanie Lynskey, who I absolutely love. So it's just a great show. You got to check it out. So both of the projects that we're going to be doing are based on the show. We're going to do one project that is a cutout, like a plywood cutout silhouette thing, based on the character The Beast from the show. It's going to be super easy. Both of these are going to be easy, of course. And the other one is going to be a like paper mache based project based on the character Enoch, who is like a pumpkin guy from the show as well. So let's head outside. If you guys are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe before we get going. And let's just go. So I want to make sure this guy is staked into the ground. I think I can get a stake in the ground, no problem, right there. And then maybe I'll put the Beast guy, the silhouette, just opposite, like right over here. Okay, I've got my work area pretty much set up. And here's a look at the character that we are trying to achieve. He's kind of like a pumpkin king, if you will. And when thinking about how I wanted to make him, I wanted to try to stay as true to the character as possible. And to me, he looks paper mache. He doesn't kind of look like the rest of the pumpkins who all look like they are carved from a pumpkin. He looks different. So I am going to do him paper mache. And instead of making him like a perfectly round ball, which I could have used like a beach ball or something as the base, I decided to just go with the old standby of a garbage bag filled with a bunch of paper. And that way I can kind of freeform it a little bit and make it more like a pumpkin shape, more of an organic feel. I just really didn't want him to look too perfect. I want him to be very vintage looking. So then I got to cutting up my strips of paper and making my paper mache mix. And you guys, I do not use any sort of recipe or anything like that. All I do is just put flour and water in a bowl until I feel like it has the right consistency. And to me, the right consistency is like a thin pancake batter. This is just how I've been doing it forever, you guys. When the girls, when my daughters were little, I used to make them piñatas. Like every year for their birthday, I would make them a homemade piñata. So I used to make these all the time, and this was bringing back such memories. But this is just how I've always done it. So no recipe, none of that nonsense. I'm just going to take my paper strips, I'm going to dip them into my mixture, kind of wipe off the excess, and just start going to town on my pumpkin here. And I'm probably going to end up doing a couple of layers. I'll let it fully dry. Then I'll have to flip it over to the bottom and do that whole process over again. And then we'll see where we're at. Okay, I think it's looking pretty good. It's not perfectly round, but I like that. For the character itself, I think it's going to be like more organic looking. And it just fits the character better, I think. But it's nice and hard. So I got this stuff. I did a pickup order at Walmart, and I ordered the Flex Seal spray, but they substituted this one instead. It looks like it's the same deal, and it says that it works on all sorts of stuff, including fabric, which I feel like this is probably the most similar to like fabric, I guess. Anyway, so I'm going to take this outside, spray it with the waterproof sprayer all over, and then we'll get started painting it. Okay, I have a couple extra tomato cages, so that's what I'm going to use for the body of this guy. This will be the top one. I'm just gonna stick his head like in, I'm gonna jam him into these 3 things here. They're a little long. I think that's okay. We shall see. Let's just do it. Okay, I got him on there, but he's a little bit wobbly. I think it's gonna be good for now, for when I'm spraying him, because I can kind of do it all in one go. But I think when I make his body, I'm gonna have to reinforce it with something else, like chicken wire, something like that, to make it more stable. All right, this dries super fast. It's only been like an hour, and it is dry. Nothing happening there. So next I'm just gonna paint it orange. I'm gonna paint the whole thing orange as like a base. And then my daughter is gonna help me paint the rest. She's a really good artist. She takes after her dad that way. So she's gonna help me paint the face and everything. So for his clothes, he has just like strips of fabric, and color-wise, you know how it is. It's like kind of depends on the screen that you're looking at. To my eye, they're like a green and tan. So whenever I have to do like big fabric things, instead of going and buying fabric, sometimes it's just cheaper to buy curtains, like really cheap curtains. So these were, I think one of them was $7 and the other one was $9. So I'm just gonna cut these into strips. They're from Amazon. I'm gonna cut them into strips. I am not gonna measure them. I don't care about any of that. I'm just gonna eyeball it and make them all kind of similar, long strips of fabric. Pretty tattered, so I'll probably clean them up a little bit on the edges because they are like super frayed, but for the most part this is pretty much what I was going for anyway. I want them to look kind of tattered, so I'll just clean them up a little. On to the next. And so I'm just going to give this a base coat of orange. I'll probably have to do a couple layers of it, and then my daughter Ruby is going to paint the face on this for me. This is a show that we watch together. We both really love it, and she is an awesome artist. So she's gonna paint the face for me. I'm really excited. And as you can see, she did a freaking awesome job. So now that I've cleaned up my fabric a little bit, I need to attach it to something. I have a couple of these old embroidery hoops. This is like the inner hoop. So, and I want to keep this a no-sew project, so I'm just going to use a hot glue gun. I'm just going to take my fabric, wrap it around a little bit, seal it up, and do that a billion times. Okay, and for project number 2, which is just going to be like a quick and easy extra project, my husband's going to help me with this one. It's just going to be a simple silhouette cutout of this character called the Beast. I will insert a picture here. You guys can see how easy the shape is going to be. And then we are going to just paint it black and add these branches as the kind of antler pieces. So it'll all be painted black. And then I have like a little bit of an idea for the eyes. So stay tuned for that. Okay, I've got kind of like a vague sketch here. I'm really just going for like a head and shoulders type deal. So he looks kind of like he's like emerging from the ground. So now I'm just gonna cut this out. All right, that ended up being not too hard. So now I'm just gonna paint this black. Okay, so I got this guy all painted black, and I'm going to attach these branches as like antlers. So I am painting those black as well. So now I just need to dry, and then we can assemble it. Cool. So here is the final product. I love it. The pumpkin is looking great. My daughter did such a good job on the paint. So what I ended up doing was I put 2 tomato cages together. I just like zip tied them together. Then I took my embroidery hoop and zip tied that to the top of it. And I just left a couple inches of the spikes from the tomato cages sticking up, and I put those right into my pumpkin. So it's just sitting on there. There is a stake in the ground as well to help support the whole structure. And he does look a little bit tattered. I think if I had it to do over, maybe I would have sewn these fabric pieces. But other than that, I'm really happy with how he looks. And here's this guy. Actually, my daughter Ruby, again, is the one that came up with this awesome idea for his eyes. I knew I wanted them to be like light bulbs, like bright. And I was having trouble finding just what I was looking for, like a single solar bulb or something like that. And she was like, why don't you try those touch lights? Made it so much easier. I didn't even have to drill holes for the eyes. We just attached them. So it's perfect, and they glow. They light up. I will put a nighttime shot in here too, so you guys can see. But that's it. Easy peasy projects. 1, 2. They didn't cost hardly any money. Let's see, how much did we spend? We bought these lights. They cost, they were $12. They included batteries. And we have an extra one. And then for this project, all I spent was the curtain fabric, so less than 20. Pretty good. So we're pretty happy with these two. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining me again for another Halloween DIY. I will see you all next time. Bye.